No, it was an issue with the OBS. The OBS disconnected, but it was on public.
He said there was an issue with the OBS.
It should be back up now.
It should be back up now. Con. Salakia. You understand? But like I was saying, when you see that white man and you see all the pain that they went through, when you think of all the struggles that America has went through, and then somehow, like this brother just said right here, he said that white people love us for the most part. You have to show me one white man that has ever loved black people to the fullest, like how we loved him. You understand? How do you know that? I'm not even gonna ask you how you know that's a lie. For a quick answer is that's a damn lie. White people do not love you, brother. But how do you know that black people love white people? How do you know that?
Salaki said by our actions, like
we
fought in their wars.
We've done what?
We fought in their wars.
Black people have died for white people.
Right.
Black people not only died for white people, they fought against racism in their respective countries. I mean, Salaki, in their cities, in their towns. You understand? In their neighborhoods, in their communities. They fought against getting spat on. They fought against rocks being thrown on them while they went to school.
Right.
They fought against being called nigger and negro and coon and spick and wetback and savage and red-faced. They fought against every racial slur, every tactic of discrimination. And they still loved white people so much that they enlisted in those wars.
Right.
And they went and they fought and they died. They went and fought and died and broke up happy families.
Right.
You understand? Mothers losing husbands, fathers losing sons. And they came back to America and they fought against the same racism. They went to Vietnam and they fought and came back to America and fought again.
Right.
Their whole life was about fighting. But you know how black people love white people and white people know it? Because to this day, black people have never separated from them.
That's right.
To this day, them same men who wore those badges and the glory of honor and the purple seals,
right?
Them same men who will sit up in here and tell you that, yeah, America has been racist to them.
Right.
You go talk to them old heads. Go talk to them 72-year-olds, them 80s-year-olds if you can find them. And ask them what they had to go through during their time of growing up. And they'll tell you about the racism that they fought. But then let the national anthems play. And they'll be proud to stand for it. Because they love white people. When has white people ever stood for you?
Right.
You understand? You're not going to tell me that no weak display of Black Lives Matter is all it takes for you to get your love. Like you, as black people today, after all the crap that America has, black people today should start to act like our sisters in the world.
Right.
When it comes to love. You understand? Like when you dealing with a woman in the world that you've been with for a long time and you've been messing up and she loves you and she loves you and she loves you, she gets to the point where she gets tired of the games.
Right.
And you understand? You've seen it all before. You've done it. And then you try to go back to be with her. And what she say? She say, nah. She backing away from you. She trying to move on with her life. She ain't really trying to deal with you no more. Why? Because of the crimes that you've committed against her.
Right.
Because of all the times you claimed you loved her, but you beat her, but you lied to her, but you went out and whored on her. But you left her alone.
Right.
For all the crimes that you committed against her, at some point she's smart enough to say, I may want to love you. You understand? I may have wanted to be with you for the rest of my life.
Right.
I may have wanted it. But I can't just let my guard down so easily again. Because I know from experience that if I let you back into my life, it's bound to happen again.
Right.
And so what do you got to do? You see on the movies, they got to go and they got to get the red roses and take them on a fancy date. What was the movie Deliver Us from Eve? If you seen that with LL Cool J. Yeah, what he had to do at the end of the movie. He had to go get the white horse and pull up and he had to do all of that just to get her back. And you telling me that after all the crimes that this oppressor have done towards us, after all the alligator baits that they used our babies for, after all the burnings and the lynchings and the relics and the wagon grease that they made out of our bodies and our bones, you telling me after all of these crimes, the only thing that's going to take for you to take that hoe back is for them to stand up with you and say Black Lives Matter? That's it? You are a cheap hoe.
That's right.
You're a weak hoe. If you believe that white people have this newfound affection and love for your people because they stand up and say Black Lives Matter, as if we didn't know that. You understand? Like, I wish a white man would come to me and say, hey, Black Lives Matter. I would just look at him like, okay, I need gas in my car. Like, you want to start this? We're going to start chanting obvious chants. Goddamn Captain Obvious. I need gas in my car or it won't run. Who the hell needs to hear that? Nobody. The sun rises in the east, sets in the west. Clearly, we know this. We've noticed, brother, that Mr. White Man, that Black Lives Matter. They've been mattering since I've been born. Since way before I've been born. The problem is that they've never mattered to you. You're telling us. You're sitting up in our neighborhoods and our rallies and our riots and protests and organizations and gatherings, and you're screaming Black Lives Matter to us, when you should be at your people's. You should be in your people's whose deems our life to be 3/5 of a man. That's where you should be. Telling them that Black Lives Matter. But even that is not enough when it comes to judgment. Even that is not enough when it comes to the Lord. You understand? You cannot murder a people for thousands of years. You understand? It ain't only 400 years that this man has been tormenting us. It's been since before Christ. Before Christ was here, this man was slaughtering us. You understand? Slaughtering us after King James. Slaughtering our people, man. Forever he's been slaughtering us. It ain't nothing new. It's going to take a little bit more than some old chant, than some Black Lives Matter BS for you to sit here and tell me that white people love us. They love the idea of you. They love the idea of you because you pose no threat to their society. You understand? The society that white people love. What was it in the 80s? What was it? The bright colored houses with the picket fences, or was that the 70s?
60s, 70s.
67. Around the time when they started with the nuclear bunkers. They like the 50s. The 50s, okay. They like the bright colored houses with the white picket fence and the red door with the lawn. And the dog and the two kids and the mother and father. And the mother was a housewife, and the man went out to go work in Wall Street or something like that. That's their life. And they wake up every morning, and they go to work. They kiss their wife on the cheek. They kiss their children goodbye to school. They go to work. They make their money. They come home, and they live a good life. They don't worry about that drive towards work. They're not worried about that drive home. They're not thinking about, oh man, what if a cop pulls me over today? They're not thinking about, man, the people at my job is racist, man. They might fire me because I'm a little too white. They're not thinking about that. They can go to work and be as white as they can be. With the cargo shorts and the plaid long sleeve shirts. And they can go in there and squinch their nose and talk all day. And not have a problem. They don't know what it is to be black. And the reason why they're okay with you being here is because by you being as patriotic as you are to this country, you pose no threat. You pose no contention to their society at all. Meaning you being here is like, what's the docile pet? It's like a lizard in a cage. It's like a lizard in a cage. And you know that when you look at that lizard, it's to me it looks weird. I don't like lizards. I don't like reptiles or nothing like that.
Right.
To me it looks weird. If I seen a lizard on my couch, I'd freak the hell out.
Right.
You understand? You gotta get that out of here.
No sweat.
But when they look at us, they see us and they see gangbanger.
Right.
They see rapist.
Right.
They see drug dealer. They see thief. They see carjacker. They see murderer. But then they see you stand for that national anthem, and then they see a cage.
Right.
They see a spiritual cage on your mind.
Damn right.
That means that you'll never carjack them
That's right.
because you mentally love me too goddamn much.
That's right.
You're mentally enslaved by me too goddamn much to ever think to pose a threat to my society.
Right.
And we'll never do it. That's why we're quick to kill each other. We're quick to sell drugs to each other. We're quick to demonize each other. You understand? I remember it was a brother who sat in the class not too long ago, and he raised his hand and he told me that he felt bad because he couldn't even walk down the streets in his own neighborhoods and see another brother that looked just like him and not have to put up a guard and mean mug and look at him and try to defend himself over a situation that don't need defending.
Right.
You understand? As a black man in America, things like that should just make you hate the thing or the oppressor or the idea or the religion that has caused your people to be this way. Like you don't understand how sad that is for a brother who knows he's not about that life.
Right.
Knows he's not trying to be a gangbanger. He's not trying to be hardcore all the time. And he just wants to walk down the street and he just wants to say, "What's good, brother?" and keep it going. But he knows that because of the condition of his people, because of the situations that are on his people, that the same way he has to protect himself from that man, it's the same way that man feels like he has to protect himself from him.
Right.
You understand? And that creates a natural guard. Why? Because when you take a group of people and you take their identity away and you beat these people and you demonize these people
Right.
and you push propaganda against these people and you make them to believe that they're dirty. You make them to believe that black is ugly,
Right.
that black is disgusting, that being who you are is less than being a human. When you do that to a people, then they're going to lose the respect that they have for themselves.
Right.
They're going to lose the respect that they have for their brother, for their sister. They're going to lose it. You understand? You see a sister go out. If you go back and watch a movie called Birth of a Nation, I forget who the brother is who directed the movie, but if you go back and watch it, there's a scene.
Nate Parker.
You understand? That brother did a Tawab job with that movie. You understand? He could have did a little better. He got some counsel from the school. He could have made it perfect.
Damn right.
But he did a Tawab job for what he is.
Right.
But there's a scene in there where Gabrielle Union, she was the wife to another slave, and the slave master had a party, and one of the guests of the party wanted to have sex with his wife. And to see her go into that house and to know what was about to happen, it angered him to the point where that man cried and could not stop crying. And to see her come back and knowing that she thought to herself that she was now filthy,
Right.
that she was now disgusting, that she was now less than what she was before she went into that room, that caused pain to that brother.
Right.
But now here we are today, and because they continuously did it, continuously raped our women, continuously called them nigger wenches, and used them and abused them and pampered them to become what we call to put them. You understand? During slavery, what do we get the term? Well, Christians use this ignorantly, but they called a whore a what? It's a woman in the Bible, but of course Christians use it ignorantly.
Salakia, Jezebel?
A Jezebel. They called a woman a Jezebel. Of course, Jezebel was not a whore at all.
Right.
You understand? Jezebel, if y'all want that breakdown, we could break that down. Jezebel, well, was she a heathen? If I'm not mistaken, she was a heathen, and she made her husband to follow after her God,
Right.
after Baal. You understand? But that's what Jezebel was. Jezebel was the women in the Christian church today who makes it hard for a man to be a man.
Right.
Who makes it hard for a man to stand up and say that that our oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of.
Right.
You understand? Those women who won't allow that in this house,
Right.
those are the Jezebels today. You understand? They have the same spirit of Jezebel. But back in slavery, all women were conditioned to be whores. You understand? They had to do it so damn much that it became second nature. They started to have what? Stockholm syndrome. They started, instead of feeling nasty for what they were doing, they started to feel rewarded for going and pleasing their slave master. You understand? And that is the same thing that's been happening to our people for centuries. For 400 years in America, we've been taught to fight each other.
Right.
We've been taught to get in that ring and fight to the death. We've been taught to police each other. Right. You understand? Ever since we got in slavery, they would have other slaves to be bred up and trained to be what? Your police officer today. You understand? They've been bred back in slavery to be the man who catches the niggas who runs away. Right. Or to be the man who whips the niggas who act up or who act against what the master said. And all of those things, all of those practices, you understand, even all the things that Willie Lynch taught, those things are the reason why today, that brother who said what he said, he can't walk down the street and just have love for his people. Right. He can't do it because it goes all the way back into what our oppressor has trained us to be.
That's right.
You understand? And that's why these classes are so important.
Damn
and that's
right.
why learning that the white man does not love us.
Right.
He has not proven that he loved us. The white man has not came up and told blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indian the truth about their identity, the truth about where they came from, about who they worked with to get us here. You understand? About who sold us out, about who these Christian pastors really are. They haven't came and told us or given us back any goddamn thing. Wow. You understand? So until you prove to me past what I just said that the white man is somehow got this newfound affection. Wow. You understand? Like what? Give me the date. Somebody on whoever said that, give me the date or the time where white people just started loving us. And when the hell did it happen? You understand? Because I've been seeing our brothers still dying in the street. Wow. I've been seeing our brothers still leading in the prison system. Seeing our brothers still being targeted. I'm seeing everything that's been happening since the 60s and the 50s and the 40s. And before that, nothing has changed. You understand? Just because that man allows you to stand for his flag with him does not mean he loves you. It means you're a trained dog. You understand? You are a homeborn slave to him. And he has no need to press his racism so much. He has his need. You understand? When that cop, good night, when that cop had his knee on George Floyd's neck, when that brother lost his life, what did the cop do? George Floyd died. What did the cop do? He eventually moved his knee. He got up. He didn't stand on his neck anymore because he had no need to press for it. His life was already taken. Blacks, Hispanic, and the Native American Indians' lives have already been destroyed. Right. They have no need to hang us from tree to tree. They have no need to come out and say that we're 3/4 of a man. Right. We treat each other like we're 3/5 of a man in the ghettos that we're in today. Right. You understand? And according to the Bible, that same man who has done that to our people, he is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. He is the devil, man, because he's the man who put us in that condition. Right. He's the man who taught us these things. You understand? We go to him for every goddamn thing. What you think, that we didn't get the bad stuff too? We think that we got the good things from the so-called white man, but somehow the bad stuff just came from each other. Right. We just learned these tactics on our own. Right. We learned about gangbanging on our own here, huh? We learned about how to get guns. Somehow we learned how to transport weapons into the black communities. Right. And we learned how to cook up the dope and ship it from Bolivia somehow on our own. We the ones doing it. Right. Somebody let me know if that's correct. So I know a whole lot of drug dealers. I don't know not one man, not one black man, no sweat, Salaki. I don't know not one black man who is shipping crates of cocaine from Colombia over here in America. Right. You can't even go on vacation outside the country without stressing over a passport. Right. The white man has given us everything filthy, man. You understand? He's made us to become filthy. What have you got for me? Zephaniah 2:1. Mm-hmm.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Mm-hmm. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
The Bible is saying, gather together, O nation not desired. Why is it saying that? Because we have this fond affection with the white man that everything we do in our life is to try to appease him or to try to live up to his standard.
Right.
You understand? That's why when we get a piece of the American dream, when we make it playing ball or we make it being a famous actor or we get some kind of, you understand, a lot of money or fame, what do? We go after his white woman.
Right.
We go after his trophy. We go after the woman that Emmett Till could not whistle at without losing his life.
Right.
We go after her because for so long she was kept. For so long she was so sacred that you couldn't even look her in the eye. And now you got money, and because America loves money, you can go get you some white whore, and you can pretend that you're living on top of the world, man. And that sister who loved you since middle school. Right. You forget about that sister who used to pick on you and joke on you because she really loved you. You forgot about her. The woman who used to braid your hair in high school before your basketball games. The woman who used to do all kinds of things with you, who used to date back in high school, who used to argue with, who used to hold you down when you was messing up. The woman who was helping you with your homework, helping you with your papers and your assignments. You understand? Just loving you, just because you was you. And then we go up here and we get we get money and fame and become celebrities, and we want to go and make some dog rich. Right. We want to go and make some disgusting dog rich, man. You understand? And it's so disgusting because these women that oppressor today, Salaka, his woman today, that white woman today, they don't love you when you don't have money. Right. You understand? They don't love you when you're not the biggest dope dealer. They don't love you when you're not driving a Rolls Royce. They don't love you when you're at the bottom. They only love you when you're at the top. You understand? When you're making it in America. When you can give them the lifestyle, you understand that it keeps their lifestyle intact, but they can still have a nigga or a plaything. You understand? Because they don't want to go live in the ghetto with you. They ain't going to do that. But if you can get out the ghetto, then they'll go for it. You understand? But that's why we have to come back together and learn to love each other once again. That's why we got to come back together under these law, statutes, and commandments, man, and learn to build each other up again. Learn to take that black woman again and build with her. You understand? Go get a job in a company or a business or whatever you do and build it up with her. And when you get rich or you get money or you get financially stable, spend that time with her. You understand? And build and have black babies.
Right.
Have black babies with her and then let them do it all over again. But we got to stop taking our love away from each other and giving it back to them. Right. Because we're spreading ourselves thin. You understand? Keep going. The sister said, I know that's right. Damn right, sis.
Verse 2. Mm-hmm. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you.
Before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you. You understand? When Christ was sent here, Christ was sent to be a mediator for blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians and the Most High. Why? Can anybody tell me why? Why was Christ sent to be a mediator for us and the Most High? Or who could tell me what a mediator is first? What is a mediator?
Salakia, so a mediator would be like a middleman. So like say like a real estate, you know what I'm saying, agent or a broker or something like that who's a liaison between the buyer and the bank or buyer and the homeowner. It is the middleman who connects two parties together.
Right. Okay. And brothers, sisters on chat who join in the chat, if y'all got any questions, any comments, just type it in the chat. If you want to answer a question I'm asking, type it in the chat. Sis said a peacemaker. Yeah, you could say a peacemaker. And brother said was correct. Like a mediator is needed when you have two parties who disagree or can't speak to each other. You understand? Like if me and this brother, this would never happen, but me and this brother is arguing to the point where we're not hearing each other no more. I'm not listening to see if I'm wrong or he's right, and he's not listening to see if I'm right or he's wrong. He just wants to he wants to get his point across, and I want to get my point across. I want to do what I want to do, and he wants to tell me that I can't do it. And at this point, we're not listening to each other. So the mediator comes into play so that he can listen to our cause or our reason, and then he can decide who's right or who's wrong. You understand? But Christ was sent to be a mediator. But why was he? Why did Christ have to come to be a mediator for the nation of Israel, which is blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, and him? What's wrong with Christ? You got it?
Salakia, he was sent to be a mediator because we basically had turned our back on the Most High. We, you know what I'm saying, as a whole, we weren't keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. And the Most High told us, you know what I'm saying, if you don't keep these laws, then, you know what I'm saying, then basically I'm going to turn my back on you.
Right. So, okay. Why would the Lord turn his back on us? You may need a precept. I may have to give it to you. Actually, you don't need a precept. What would the Lord turn his back on specifically? If anybody in chat got the answer, type it in. Like, okay, let's say you got a son. You're giving your son laws and rules and things to do, and you love your son. What would make you turn your back on your son? Other than what you said earlier. It has to be something extra. Before you say that, imagine the mother who kicked her son out the house. And the son always explains what happened. I'm trying not to give it to you. Go ahead and say what you got to say.
No, Salaki, I was going to ask. So not a particular, because there's many reasons why a mother might kick a son out or a father might kick their son out.
He's selling drugs. He's staying home. I'm getting out late. Yada, yada, yada. Just like the nation of Israel. Selling drugs. Being whores. Being whoremongers. We're doing a whole lot of things.
Homosexuals, all of that.
Right. But why would the Lord turn his back? Like, what is he turning his back on? If you think about the condition of us here in America, then you'll get the answer. No sweat. Think about it. What condition are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in America, in the earth?
We in hell.
We in hell. Right? So if we're in hell, is that what we're supposed to be? Is this what did Paul say? Was it Paul? I may be mistaken. Who said, is Israel a homeborn slave? Is that who we're supposed to be?
That might be Isaiah.
We're drug dealers. We're drug dealers. We're whoremongers and whores. We're prostitutes. We're murderers. We're thieves. We're liars. We're everything in the world that's bad. We do everything. We commit all kinds of sins here in America. Jeremiah. But is that what we're supposed to be? La'ah. What are we supposed to be?
I can get a precept for that.
Let me Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let me Deuteronomy chapter 28. See, just give it to you.
Come.
Man, that was back at Eva Street Bible. Yeah, it's been some time.
Which one you want? Verse 1?
Mm-hmm.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments.
So we will listen to our Father. We will listen to the Most High. Keep going.
Which I command thee this day.
And follow his commandments, his law, statutes, commandments. Keep going.
That the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations
And
of the earth.
And the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations on the earth. What is that? What is what he just read?
I mean, you could say that's racism.
I mean, but he's dealing with just us.
Right.
What is that? Okay, imagine this. I say, sis in the back, if you go to the store and get a case of water and bring it back before 6 o'clock, I'm going to give you $20. What did I just make? Sis? A promise. And what is another word for a promise? A covenant. The Lord turned his back on us because we broke our covenant.
Damn right.
We broke our promise to the Lord.
God.
He's not an unjust father. We're not in the ghettos, dying in the streets because the Lord is not real, or he's just not with us, or he threw us away for no goddamn reason.
Right.
We're in this condition because we broke our end of the bargain.
Right.
We didn't go to the store and get the pack of water and bring it back at 6 o'clock. We went to the strip club. We went to the corner. We went to go sell drugs. And the Lord, being a loving father, he punished us for breaking our promise. You understand? Just like that son who gets kicked out of his mother's house.
Right.
What does he say before he gets kicked out? I'm going to do better, Ma. I'm going to do better. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And she says, all right now. All right now. And the next thing you know, he breaks that covenant with his mother. And once you break that promise, it's hard to come back from. Right. You understand? So that's why Christ had to come back and be a mediator between us two. Because we broke that promise with him. You understand? And it angered the Most High. Like the Lord said, he's a jealous God. And when we out here worshiping after other gods and learning and living and idolizing other nations, then that's what's going to happen. You understand? Drop me, when you get a chance, Baba Kushai, drop me down to verse 17. You understand? That's what's going to happen. So when we are in these conditions and we see the condition of our people, and we question why is it that black people kill each other? Why is it that we lead in the prison system? Why is it that we are suffering so much here in America? It's because we're hard-headed and we won't listen.
Right.
It's because we go into the Christian church every Sunday and learn nothing. You don't understand how many Christians I've talked to and asked them simple questions, simple basic questions. Like if the ISUPK had kids classes, the questions I'm asking them would be kindergarten beginner classes. And they have no idea. They've never seen it in the Bible. And you got to question, well, what the hell are y'all doing in there? Honestly, not to even spaz on your church gathering. But what the hell are you doing? If you don't even know anything about the 12 tribes of Israel, you've got no clue. Judah, you know who Judah is? Judah. What? King David? You got no clue of nothing. All you know is, well, you know, God loves everybody. Well, why you say that? Well, that's what my pastor taught. Right. And he gonna forgive us for our sins. Well, why'd you say that? Well, that's just what my pastor taught. Right. I'm like, well, pull the scripture for that. You understand? Read that when you get it, Baba Kushai.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
Oh, read before that. Think of verse 16. Verse 16.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Before that, but the consequences of breaking the law.
Oh, I got you.
Con.
Verse 15.
Uh-huh.
But it shall come to pass,
Uh-huh.
if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
If we will not listen unto what our Lord commanded us to do, if we won't listen to what the God of the Bible told us to do, keep reading.
Come.
Oh, Salaki, the sister said non-believers. Salaki, I'm missing what you said, non-believers too. What was my question? I don't know. You understand? Non-believers, that don't sound right though. Just keep going.
To observe, to do all his commandments
Uh-huh.
and his statutes,
Uh-huh.
which I command thee this day,
Uh-huh.
that all these curses
Mhm.
shall come upon thee
Uh-huh.
and overtake thee.
That all these curses are going to come upon thee and overtake thee. You look at the condition of Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians, you're looking at a nation of people who disobeyed their God and now have a cursing vexation on them. They are cursed by the Lord. You understand? The reason why George Floyd died with that man's knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds is because he's cursed by the Lord.
Right.
The reason why our babies are aborted by the numbers that they are, 460 some odd thousand every year, is because we're cursed by the Lord. The reason why we don't own anything is because we're cursed by the Lord. That's why everything we've tried, every city we've tried to build, every neighborhood we've tried to own, it's been cursed by the Lord and it's never worked. It's always failed. Since from Rosewood to what's the other one in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and tens and tens of more cities and neighborhoods that we've owned. You understand? We've owned our own airports and our own banks and our own, you understand, hospitals, own everything, the bakeries, stores, and everything that we needed, we owned, and it never worked because we disobeyed the Lord. You understand? And it's not going to work. Just like a father with his son. A father wants his son to do something one way.
Right.
You understand? He wants him to clean up his room. Sweeping the dirt under your bed is just not gonna cut it.
Right.
You understand? You still not going out to that party now.
Right.
Because you're not doing what I told you to do. You understand? So it just won't work. Keep going.
Come, sir.
Salaki. She said what he turned his back on. All right, no sweat. Go back to verse 15.
Come. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
But it shall come to pass,
Mm-hmm.
if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
If it says, it shall come to pass if thou will not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. What you have to understand is who was the thou. You understand? Who is this talking to? Do you know? Are you familiar with this scripture at all? Do you know who this is talking to? I'll give you a second. This is talking to a race of people. I'll give you a second to answer. If not, I'll give it to you. Brothers outside having a food drive as we speak.
Damn right.
You understand? Feeding the people as we speak. You understand? I'm going to give you 2 more seconds. If you don't know, saying I don't know is a very Tawab answer. That's a very great answer to say that I don't know. You say it enough, you might find out something. You might learn something.
Right.
You understand? All right, I'm going to give it to you. Keep going.
Come.
Mm-hmm.
To observe, to do all his commandments
Uh-huh.
and his statutes,
Uh-huh.
which I command thee this day,
Mm-hmm.
that all these curses shall come upon thee
Mm-hmm.
and overtake thee.
And all these curses are going to overtake thee. You understand? This is what your Christian pastor should be teaching you in church. Before the tambourines come out, before the banjos and the kazooies and whatever the hell else they use to sing in there, and good night, before they start stomping around and foaming at the mouth and passing out and having seizures and all of that, you should be learning something about what's in this book. You should get out of that church and know something. You understand? We're going to answer the sister question. Keep going.
Come.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city. This people who disobeyed the Lord, they were going to be cursed in the city. You're cursed in New York City. You're cursed in Chicago. You're cursed in Charlotte. You're cursed in Boston. You're cursed in the north. You understand? In the cities. You don't own. You'll die in the city. You understand? Keep going.
Come on, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And cursed shalt thou be in the field.
And cursed shalt thou be in the field. A lot of people love Harriet Tubman, right? Because she freed the slaves. What's that? Oh, come on. I've been babysitting. No sweat. But you can see me one more time before it gets gone. But a lot of people love Harriet Tubman because she freed the slaves, right? So-called freed a number of slaves, moved a number of slaves from the South and took them to freedom up in the North. Now, our brothers and sisters were dying in the South. They were dying and they were slaving and they were working, you understand, for a minimum wage. And what I mean by minimum wage, I mean that all the things that they would have used for money, the slave master just provided. Meaning housing, you understand, cheap clothing,
Right.
cheap food, you understand, cheap exercises, cheap everything, cheap weddings,
Right.
everything that they would have bought with the little bit of money they, the white man could have gave them.
Right.
The white man just gave them for being a slave. Right. And so when Harriet Tubman moved them from the South to the North, well, brothers weren't getting hung on trees anymore. They were just getting shot in the street.
Right.
Brothers weren't slaving in the fields no more. They was thousands of feet up in the air slaving on cranes.
Right.
You understand? They were building Washington, D.C.
Right.
They were building New York. They were slaving, keeping the hedges, even keeping the lawns cut for their oppressor in the North. She didn't do nothing. I'm not going to say she didn't do nothing. Her trial was honorable for her to even try. It was very thoughtful of her people. But hear me when I say this. She didn't free slaves.
Right.
She merely transferred them from the South to the North.
Right.
That's all she did. She moved the slaves from the South and in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and South Carolina and North Carolina, and she moved the same slaves to the North, to New York, to Boston, to Chicago, to Philly, to D.C. That's all she did. And the same rate that we died down here, we died up there. It's the same thing all over this country. It was nowhere you can go where that white man was not going to hate you.
Right.
The reason why that separation with the North and the South even happened was because of money. It wasn't because of morality.
Right.
It wasn't a moral standpoint that white man sought to sign the Emancipation Proclamation. Abraham Lincoln, out his own mouth, said that if he could save the South without freeing the slaves, he would have did it.
Right.
But the North felt as if the South was gaining too much power because they were getting free labor. That was it.
Right.
So they wanted them slaves to be released so that they can come get cheap labor. And everybody would just have give their slaves cheap labor, and it'll make the playing field equal. Hold on, Instagram, we're going to come right back up. They need to make the time up here longer. But go back to the beginning of that.
Come, verse 15.
Come.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Verse 17. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Who could break that down? What does that mean to be cursed? The basket in your store is cursed. Meaning the goods that you possess, it won't flourish.
Right.
It won't work. You try to open up a store, and the goods that you try to sell, it just won't work.
Right.
You understand? Because you are cursed. You have a cursing vexation on you. So you won't build black grocery stores.
Right.
You won't build Mexican grocery stores and flourish all across America. You won't do it. You understand? Keep going.
Verse 17. Thank you. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body.
The curse shall be the fruit of thy body. What does that mean? Brother.
So like your children?
Your children, your seed, right? The fruit of thy body, the child you carry for 9 months, he's cursed. That's a terrible thing for a mother to have to come to grips with. You find out you're pregnant, you got a baby boy, and it's a beautiful thing. You want to be happy. But one day you start to think. You start to think about what he's going to do.
Right.
What life is he going to live? What kind of friends is he going to choose to be around?
Right.
You understand? How do you know? That's why you choose what when he starts to become of age. It's very important you choose what. If any of y'all, well, I'm not Salaki. But if you're a parent, when they start to become of age, you have to choose what wisely. I think a sister just went to prison because she changed her zip code area so that her son could do what? Go to a better school. Choose his friends differently. Choose the people who's around him differently. Why? Because being black in America is a death wish.
Right.
Just being in the neighborhood you're from, that's a death ticket. Hanging around the friends that grew up with you is a death ticket.
Right.
So you try to go from you are pushing to find the best school.
Right.
The whitest school you can find, you're trying to make sure he's around them. You understand? Because then you feel like as if he has some kind of shield against that devil. But he doesn't. Because he has a cursing vexation.
Right.
And his people are cursed because of what his ancestors did. You understand? So curse shall be the fruit of thy body. Keep going.
Come.
Mm-hmm. Sis, if you still listening, I'm answering your question right now. There's only one group of people who these curses fit. Chinese people, the basket in their store is crazy good.
Right.
You understand? There's a Chinese restaurant in every city you go to.
Right.
It's almost like a gas station. And you just know. If you go to Alabama, is there a Chinese restaurant? You damn sure it is.
Right.
You understand? So this ain't talking about Chinese people.
Right.
This ain't talking about Middle Easterns. You going into any hood in the ghettos, there a Middle Eastern store? You damn right it is.
Damn right.
And they going to sell you every Lucy and black that you can buy.
Right.
Every time. You going to go in there, they're going, what's my friend, what's going on, my friend? The whole time they behind that bulletproof window.
Right.
Just like, hurry up and buy. You understand?
Right.
Get the hell out of here. They're not cursed like we are.
Right.
Keep going.
Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Meaning the stuff that we own, our farmers, they won't flourish.
Right.
You understand? They won't be the farmers who is going to fuel food line. They're not going to have the crops that's going to fuel Harris Teeter
Right.
or fuel Kroger.
Right.
They won't flourish like that. You understand? Keep going.
Verse 19. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
When you're born a nigga.
Right.
And when you die, you're just a dead nigga.
Right.
You understand? You're 3/5 of a man when you come in. You're 3/5 of a man when you die. That's what you are. You're born black. You're born a coon, or you're born a wetback, or a spick, or a savage, or a red face. That's what you're born as. And when you die the same way.
Right.
When LeBron James dies, it's just going to be another nigga who died who could dribble a basketball
Right.
very well. You understand? Keep going.
Come. Verse 20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed.
And everything that we try to do, every Rosewood, Black Wall Street, every organization we've ever created, you understand? Everything that we've set our hand to do to fix our people, it'll just be destroyed. You understand? Keep going.
Until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings.
Because of the wickedness of thy doings. Because we sinned against our God.
Right.
Say any more?
Come. Whereby thou hast forsaken me. That's the end of that verse.
Come. All right, drop down to verse 68. This should bring it home for you, sis. This is the same chapter, verse 68.
Come. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. You're going to have to follow me here so you understand how this scripture is going to bring home exactly who this is talking about. This is exactly who the Lord turned his back on. You understand?
Come.
When we think about the story of Egypt, we automatically think of Exodus. We automatically think of Moses and Pharaoh and the plagues and the bloody water and Moses splitting the Red Sea. back then, during that time, when all of those things was happening, that landmass in Africa was not called Egypt. It was called Mizraim or Mizraim, then Kemet, then another name, or it was Mizraim, another name, then Kemet, then they named it Egypt, right? So when the Lord is saying that, and thou shalt, and we shall go back, so read it one more time, Salaki.
Come.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord shall bring thee
Mhm.
into Egypt again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. That is talking about bondage.
Right.
That's why they named the landmass there Egypt, because it was synonymous with us being in slavery.
Right.
There. You understand? That's why the Lord is saying that he's going to bring us back, because we had already left. You understand? Moses had already split the Red Sea. We had left Egypt, and the Lord is saying he's going to bring us back. Can anybody guess why? Can anybody guess why the Lord said he was going to bring us back? Barbados in the building. Who that?
Which tribe?
Are they brothers?
They got probably Bunyamin.
Okay. Most High in Christ, Barbados. Might be Bunyamin.
So what's your question?
She said, I don't know. I said, why did the Lord bring us back into Egypt? We got out of Egypt. We just left slavery. Moses did his thing. He split the Red Sea. We walked out of Egypt. We were supposed to be going to the promised land, right? We were supposed to get the land of milk and honey. We wander in the wilderness. Why did we wander in the wilderness? Why did we have to go back in this? Why is the Lord saying he's going to bring us back into slavery? If you go back to 15, it'll tell you. Remember, this scripture, chapter 28 and verse 15, is listing the curses that'll be on your people. The curses that'll plague blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians,
Right.
because we disobeyed the Lord. Verse 68 is another curse,
Concept.
right? So why did we not go? Why did the Lord say we have to go back to Egypt? Hey, shalom, sis.
It was part of the covenant or agreement that if we don't keep the laws, you know what I'm saying, then we gotta go back into slavery. Like he took us out of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He took us out of Egypt.
He kept his end of the bargain.
Right.
And we broke ours.
Right.
We got out of Egypt and we wandered in the wilderness wanting to go back to Egypt.
Right.
You understand? Building idols to other gods and creating golden calves and,
Right.
and worshiping Baal and wanting to live amongst the heathen nations. So the Lord is saying when Moses went up into that mountain, the Lord is telling him that your people is going to go back into Egypt again.
Right.
You understand? Because they don't listen.
Right.
They don't listen. What you got?
So is it fair to say it's like, you know what I mean, like a situation where a child might do something that's harmful to them, but not like like it's gonna kill them.
No, put their hand on the
Right.
stick.
And you be like, all right, no, go ahead. Like they want to do it, and
Yeah.
you know,
Come.
okay, so you want to do that? Go ahead.
Come.
So because we acted like, you know what I mean, we built the golden calf, we want to go back to Egypt, we had the flesh pots, man, what are we doing out here in the wilderness? He's like, you want to go back? No sweat. And
Well,
he sent us back.
I ain't gonna say con in that sense. I'm a more so your daughter puts her hand on the stove
Right.
and it hurts you because that's your daughter.
Right.
And you see the pain she went through. And so you go and you get the Neosporin and you get the ointments and you get the bandages and
Right.
you're healing her wounds. And you're telling her, baby girl, don't do that again.
Right.
You need to stay away from that stove. I told you to stay away from that stove. Don't go back into the kitchen no more, baby girl, please.
Right.
Don't do it. I'm pleading. What the Lord say? He's pleading with the nation
Right.
of Israel. Pleading with us to just stop so that we can stop being in the condition because he chose us to be special to himself. So you're pleading with your little girl. And then after a while, you freed her from that pain.
Right.
Because in that moment when she's in pain, her hand is burnt to a crisp. She's not thinking about touching that stove again.
Right.
She's not. She's thinking about water or milk or something to get this pain from stopping.
Right.
So whatever you're giving her, she's like, yeah, let's go. Let's follow Moses. Get the hell out of
Right.
here. I'm tired of my people dying.
Right.
I'm in pain right now.
Come.
But once the pain ends, once you forget about George Floyd, Once you forgot about Sandra Bland.
Right.
Once you forget about Emmett Till.
Right.
And COVID-19 goes away and parties is back up and football is back on TV and what's the football team? The Chiefs? The Redskins, the Washington Redskins, they changed their logo and their name of their football team.
Right.
And you forget about all the crimes that's been committed against your people, and your hand stops burning. And then you go back and you put your hand on the stove again.
Right.
You understand? As you see your daughter walk, it's not a feeling of, whoop, you just gonna burn your hand. It's a feeling of, it's torment. It's painful to see your seed or to see who you chose or your favorite to walk down the same path that you know is only going to get them killed.
Right.
To go right back to doing the same thing that's going to put tears back in your daughter's eyes.
Right.
It pains you to do this. You understand? And then because she keeps doing it, you say, okay, now, because you did it again, I'm putting a lock on the goddamn kitchen door.
Right.
You ain't never going back into the goddamn kitchen again. This is gonna be the curse that I'm gonna put on you.
Right.
Because I'm trying to teach you to stop burning yourself.
Right.
I didn't put you in this goddamn house for you to be walking in this kitchen and burning your goddamn self.
Right.
You got to have a little bit more goddamn sense. You understand? The Lord does not want to curse the nation of Israel. He does not want our people to be dying in the streets. It angers him. It angers him so damn much that he sent word through the angels in the book of Revelations that destruction was coming to America for the crimes that he's committed against his children. No sweat. He sent instruction to the angels to pass that message in the book of Revelations because the Lord does not want us to be pained like that. You understand? Hold on one second. All right, Salaki. This is Deuteronomy 20 verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. You understand? So the Lord is probably, after we was in the wilderness and we worshiped Baal and we told Moses that we wanted to go back to Egypt. You understand? That and that sounds awful familiar. When we told Moses we want to go back to Egypt, who else did that in our lifetimes or in our generations? Who else did that? How is that a familiar story?
So who else did what again?
The nation of Israel got freed from slavery. And they turned around and told Moses they wanted to go back. Who else did that?
Oh, Salakia.
Mm-hmm.
We did.
We did. After the Emancipation Proclamation, and the white man said, okay, y'all free to go. What the majority of us did what? You wonder why the South is still populated after alligator bait? You wonder why there's still Negroes down there after all the lynchings, after all the stories and everything that you've seen. You wonder why the hell, you ever sat and thought like, okay, y'all was getting burnt to death. They said you can leave, and you stayed. You never wonder why they stayed. What you got?
So if I may, a lot of them, not all of them.
The brother said blacks. You damn right. He know a little something.
Damn right.
Most High in Christ.
A lot of them, the skills that they had, farming, picking cotton, things like that, were skills that were only relevant if you owned land.
Right.
You can't just go pick cotton somewhere. You know what I mean? You got to own it.
Right.
So since they didn't own any land, a lot of them just went back and be like, "Yo, look, I'll just work for you." Like,
right. They wanted to go back and be indentured servants.
Right.
I'll go live on the
sharecroppers and all that
and stuff. When we left, we built the golden calf. How do you think we did that? How do you think we built the golden calf? Yeah. I mean, think about it. If I said Thought One, go build a golden calf right now, even if you wanted to do it, do you know how the hell to even start that? Do you even know what material to get? Okay. I mean, con, of course. But you wouldn't even know like what tools to get. Like where the hell would you go to even start this goddamn process? Like you draw it out on paper first? I don't goddamn know. So how did they know to even build a golden calf?
Because they was building them in Egypt.
Because they had the same jobs in Egypt.
Right.
They was building the same goddamn things in Egypt.
Damn right.
So when they out here in the wilderness, they like, all I know how to do is build this goddamn golden calf.
Right.
What the hell are we doing out here?
Right.
I don't know nothing about farming and the trees and some land of milk and honey these niggas is whispering about.
Right.
I don't know what the hell that is.
Right.
I know how to build golden calves, and I got paid for it.
Right.
We need to go back to slavery.
Right.
That's exactly why we're still in the South.
Damn right.
That's exactly why we still wanted to go back to slavery, because it was comfortable. It's comfortable living under your oppressor when your life is intact.
Right.
When you're not the one that's dead. When you're not the one whose families is being tormented.
Come.
When you're the one that's just surviving, it's easy to say, well, I'm not gonna come to that class.
Right.
I appreciate what y'all brothers doing, but I can't do that. I got a job at the bank.
Good night.
I work at Wells Fargo.
Right.
You know what that is, brother? I've had some experiences. I work at state employees.
Right.
I don't think I could sacrifice that. I'm going to stay in slavery. I got a good job.
Right.
That's exactly why we stay. What you got?
So what you saying is so heavy because, it's so many people in that situation where they think they leave in one situation, but they really going back to the same thing.
Right.
What you said earlier about cursing the field, cursing the city, like it reminds me, like my grandmother left the South, like she was from Bamberg, South Carolina, and she used to have to pick cotton when she was young and everything and whatever to make a little money. She ran away from home. She said, I don't want to work no more. You know what I'm saying? Ran to Philly and all this. When she finally was ready to go to New York, she went to New York to be like a maid for white people.
Good.
To work in white people's kitchens and raise their kids.
So instead of
in New York,
they're just picking up lint.
Right.
I understand Salakia, but that's the story for most of our brothers and sisters.
Right.
We thought that because you seen a different type of white man, you thought that because we seen a different one, like this white man ain't wearing rags and got messed up teeth and his old Buck Jones, Bobby Johnson. He don't look like him. He looked like Tom Brady. You understand? Right. I'm seeing a Tom Brady. You thinking, okay, he got his life together. Maybe he gonna treat me a little better. Right. But we don't realize that, like the brother said, we going right back to the same thing, which is slavery, just in a different field. You understand? So we decided that we wanted to go back to Egypt. We decided we wanted to go back to slavery, just like the brother said online, like the blacks did in America. You understand? Just like we do today. We protest and riot for George Floyd, and then guess what we want to go do? We want to go back to 4th of July. Right. You understand? We going to stop the riots. Did anybody riot on 4th of July? Did anybody have any riot on 4th of July? Or any protests? Good night. Like, if I was in the world, that'll be the least I can do. I'd be like, yo, instead of celebrating 4th of July, we going to protest and just bring the strong this time. Right. Like, have it in our little personal bags. Like, yeah, you understand? I'm still getting lit. Right. But we not going to do everything else. We didn't even do that. We is full-fledged American shorts, American flag short shirts and shoes and socks, fireworks, everything. The hot dogs, the Franks, and we on the grill, and we is going right back to Egypt. Going right back to slavery, man. Forgetting the pain of George Floyd. Forgetting that if he was here, he would be like, hold up. The hell is y'all? Nah. We ain't celebrating this right now. You understand? They just murdered me for no goddamn reason. And you going to celebrate this? Because we going right back into slavery, man. Just like the scripture said. Read it from the top. Bible Quishar.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 68. Mm-hmm. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Remember, Egypt is just a Greek word for Egyptos. It's synonymous with our slavery here in America. That's why when you look at your money, when you look at your currency, you look on your dollar bill, and you see what? You see a Egyptian pyramid,
Right.
or you see the what is the obelisk? Not
Yeah, the obelisk.
The obelisk, right? When you look at how America is even designed, you're looking at the same way that Egypt was designed, and Washington D.C. All the monuments,
Rome.
the pharaoh's heads carved in the
Right.
mountain. You're looking at Mount Rushmore. Everything that they do is to replicate what was done to us in Egypt.
Right.
You understand? Because it's the same thing. This is the daughter of Babylon. This
Right.
is our last slavery. And every slavery we was in was always the same. They've always taught the same thing. You understand? But the Lord said we shall go back into slavery with ships. You understand? So for you to understand who Deuteronomy 20:28 is talking about, this is the hammer on the nail. This hits it on the head right here. When you got a question, well, what nation of people, what race of people went into mass slavery by cargo slave ship? Sisters, brothers online. You understand? Brothers on Instagram. What race of people went into slavery by cargo slave ships? Anything on YouTube? I'm going to give them a second. Y'all know in here, right? You don't know? No sweat. What race of people, what'd you say? IG said Africans. It wasn't, nah, no sweat. You gave an answer, no sweat. I understand why you said that Africans were brought into slavery with ships, but it wasn't Africans on them slave ships. Can anybody else tell me in the room? Who was on cargo slave ships? What other race of people? What race of people? Well, Salaki, do you understand what people went on slave ships? Or did I say what other people went on cargo slave ships? Or do you not know at all? Okay, no sweat. What race of people went into slavery by the way of cargo slave ship? Tied up, chain together, head to foot, foot to head, defecating on one another, having bowel movements on one another, menstrual cycles on one another, you understand, urinating on one another. What race of people went through that? The sister said Middle Easterns. Nah, no sweat though. Just stay. I'm gonna give you the answer right here. What race of people?
The so-called African Americans.
The so-called African Americans. That's right. Give her a hand. Damn right. It was the so-called African Americans. You understand? It was not Africans.
Right.
It was not Middle Easterns. She said, I mean, we all. It was not everybody. You understand? Middle Easterns did not come over here on cargo slave ships.
Right.
So when Deuteronomy 28:68 is saying that, and there you Salakia, and the Lord shall send thee into Egypt again by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Or Salakia, read it from the top. Read it
The
from
book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Salakia. By the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again.
That is talking about blacks, you understand, or the so-called Negroes in America.
Right.
That is talking about how we came into slavery. You understand? Even with Isupk, even with the northern tribe, they were the first ones.
Damn right.
You understand? That's a big misconception. They were the first ones to get taken into slavery down there in the Central and South America.
Right.
You understand what you had?
So like I was gonna say on that point, a famous
Andrew Johnson.
He's my Andrew
Jackson. One of
Yeah,
the
that's
two.
the Trail of Tears. Or you talking about something else?
I'm talking about something else.
Con.
But go ahead, say what
Now,
you
I was
got.
gonna say Squanto.
Okay,
He's a famous Gadite. Squanto, if you read his story,
and by Gadite he means a Native American
Right.
Indian today. You
right?
understand?
Con, the water, sir.
No sweat.
They always talk about the part of his story where the settlers came and he translated for them and spoke to them and taught them how to do this, how to plant this, how to grow crops. But the reason why he could translate was before they came, he had been stolen and taken into slavery in England.
Right.
And then he escaped on a ship to come back. And when he came back home, his whole tribe was slaughtered.
Right.
And he was the only one left.
Right.
And that's why he could speak English, because they taught it to him in slavery.
Right.
So our brothers, the Gadites in the Northern Kingdom, they did, you know what I'm saying, was on cargo slave ships as well.
Right. And like I was saying, there was I forget the white man's name, but it's either Andrew Johnson or Andrew Jackson, something like that. But he took, it was either 3 or 30,000, one of the two. I want to say it was 30,000. He took 30,000 of all of the Issacharite brothers or the Gadite brothers, and took them down into the Central or South America, and all of them but 300 died. All of them but 300. Only 300 of them lived. And do anybody remember now from what I'm saying what his quote was? It was a famous quote. This should show you how much of the devil he is.
The only good Indian is the dead one?
Remember, what was slavery to the so-called white man? Well, you was a slave catcher. What was that for you? It was property, but I'm saying you're the literal, like you're a Andrew Johnson. Yeah, that might be right. But you're a literal slave owner. What is that for? Not a slave owner, a slave catcher. What is that for you?
It's work.
That's your
profession.
job. That's your job. Your job is to go and catch slaves, bring them back and sell them. So when he brought those slaves down to Central South America and all but 300 died, he said what? Which he's so much of a devil that he said this, because technically to us you would say that's not, I'll give it to you. He said that's good business. He said that's good business. You understand? For us, that, you know, even if we was devils, that to me that don't even sound like that sound like you lost a lot.
Right.
But to him it didn't matter, because those lives weren't valuable anyway. Right? So 300 remaining was good business to him. But those were the first to go into slavery by cargo slave ship. And then here we come, not Africans. We weren't Africans getting sold by other Africans into slavery. We were the tribes of the nation of Israel. We were the Hebrew Israelites living amongst the Africans, running away from persecution from the Romans, trying to hide out, trying to living amongst them like we've always done. It wasn't just the Africans that we lived amongst.
Right.
We lived amongst the Moabites. We lived amongst the Amorites. We lived amongst all the nations at some point in time, because we always wanted to join ourselves to them.
Right.
Just like we do today. You understand? It was the so-called blacks and Hispanics, you understand, who was brought into slavery by the way of cargo slave ships. And when the Lord said, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, meaning where you came from, what your homeland is, what your nationality is. Your history will only date back to slave ships. That's all you'll remember. So for a long time, you in the Christian church, if someone asks you about your history, you just automatically start talking about Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King. Maybe you go back to Chicken George or something like that. The furthest you would go is like Kunta Kinte. That's the furthest you would go, and that's just because you watch Roots, right? Then maybe you'll go into like Shaka Zulu or something like that. But you, like, when we really think about it, 400 years ago wasn't that long. It's not when it comes to what is the history of a people that has been on earth for thousands and thousands of years. Like when you look at the Moabite history, they have their culture. They have their the terracotta warriors and them little things that's buried on the ground or whatever they buried at. They have their history. They can go and they can see, yeah, we was this, we was samurais at one point, or we was this and we was that, or we did this and did that, and we still got the temples that was built 1,000 years ago and it's still here. But we don't have nothing because why? I've been saying it over and over again. Why don't we have nothing? Sis. Because we have a cursing vexation.
Damn right.
You understand? Keep reading.
Come on, sir. Salakia.
No sweat.
Thou shalt see it no more again. And there Ye shall be sold unto your enemy.
And there you shall be what?
Sold unto your enemies.
When we landed on the banks and the borders of Charleston, South Carolina, and in New York and Baltimore, wherever the hell else they decided to go to, when we landed there and they grabbed our chains and took us up on board on the deck and took us off the ships, and we landed on the piers and we walked off the piers and was on the beaches, and they chained us up and led us to the marketplaces. What happened in the marketplaces? Where they just like, okay, niggas, go free. Just let the chains off and go. Go run and be civilized now. Is that what happened? Or what happened? The sis said we were sold. You understand? Correct. We were sold unto our enemies. We were standing up on them auctioning blocks by force. With that man saying, we're going to start this bid at 200, 200, 200, 225, 225, 225, 250, 250, 250. Can I get 275? Can I get 300, 300? This is a big Mandingo warrior. He's a fighter. He's a fighter, you can see. He's going to make a lifetime off of him. Can I get 300? Can I have 300? 350, 350 sold to the back.
Right.
With the white man with the gray beard. And then he was sold into slavery. That is what happened to our people. And then he was forced to go and fight.
Damn right.
He was forced to go and fight unto the death. You understand? Or die. Imagine that being your life.
Right.
Imagine that. You understand? And if you know anything about like just in life in general, most of the most hugest people you ever see be the most kindest men you ever met.
Right.
Most of the time people be scared. I'm like, damn, big as him, I ain't messing with him.
Right.
You go talk to him, he'd be like, hey, what's up, man?
Facts.
Like,
Facts.
He ain't trying to hurt nothing.
Right.
He just trying to be cool. Imagine that same brother being forced now to have to fight because of how tall he is.
Right.
Or how big he is. And he has to go into a ring with someone who's been bred to fight for years and has been fighting and murdering for years. And his life is that if he don't fight, he's going to die. How can you love that brother?
Right.
How can you have remorse for him and then go celebrate the 4th of July?
That's right.
How can you have more remorse for the brothers and sisters who died and slavery and all the wicked ways that they died and still go celebrate the 4th of July? The sister said white people happen. You damn right.
Damn right.
How can you have remorse? How can you scream Black Lives Matter and then go celebrate Christmas and then say some nonsense like white people love us?
Right.
How can you? You understand? Like, it's best for you to just say nothing. And just be quiet. Do white people love black people? At this point, I don't really goddamn know.
Right.
So I'm just going to shut up and let y'all handle that.
Right.
I'm going to go to work. I'm going to go to McDonald's after work and go home and go to sleep. Do white people love black people? I don't goddamn know. Y'all handle it.
Right.
That would be the best thing for you to just do.
Right.
Because for you to make the assumption that they love us, but yet on the flip side, we're rioting for something.
Right.
There's riots going on. Hold on. Why? Why is there Black Lives Matter? I thought you said that white people loved us. I thought you said America loved us. Why is there Black Lives Matter? Why? What is the protest for? What is the anger and all the fancy Twitter posts about black privilege and I mean white privilege and all of this nonsense? Why is it here? If white people love us, good night. I don't understand it.
Right.
Maybe we just wasting our time.
Right.
You should just be quiet because you don't know what you're talking
Damn
about.
right.
You understand? And you don't love your people.
Right.
Because if you remember the crimes that's been committed against your people, you would never say, give me 2nd Maccabees, man.
Come on.
Let's go. We're going to end on this.
Second
You know
Maccabees,
what I want. The 7.
7 sons.
Con. That's what I want. The 7 sons. You understand? We got to stop with the disconnection of the pain of our people. You understand? We got to start to remember. The same way they want us to remember 9/11, the same way they want us to remember Boston Tea Market, same way they want us to remember the wars, the Vietnamese wars, Pearl Harbor, World War I, World War II, the Civil War, the same way they want us to remember all the pain of their country and what they go through.
I got it.
We gotta start to remember the pain of our people.
Right.
You understand? Read what you got.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken.
Okay, so the backstory of this is we're back in Rome, right? Rome is America. America is Rome. The national bird for Rome was the bald eagle. The same bird for America is the bald eagle. America is the womb that was healed. You understand? If we go into the book of Revelations, Rome was that superpower. It got brought down to the ground, and then its womb was healed. And then we in the scriptures say that we would be forced to serve the first beast, right? Which is Rome, which is why everything.
I think this was Greece.
It was Greece?
Yeah, the Maccabees.
Okay,
yeah, because remember that. Then we got into an agreement with Rome.
Okay,
yeah.
no sweat.
Slacky.
Well, even with Greece, same thing. You understand? Everything that they've done in Greece and in Rome is the same thing that they do today. Even with Capitol Hill, that came from Rome. You understand? But this woman and her 7 brothers were taken captive, and you understand?
Right.
I ain't gonna give it to you. Keep going.
If I may, real quick, the word is Hellenistic or Hellenized, where they wanted you to be, basically, not just be a Greek citizen, but they wanted you to adopt every aspect of Greek culture,
right,
and renounce whatever you came from.
And remember, it was also illegal to be a Jew. That's why when people say, "Well, why do they got names like Paul and Jeremiah,
right,
and Jesus and names like that?" It's because it was illegal to be a Jew. They couldn't come out here with a name that was written in the Lashwan Kodash. They would have got killed. You understand? That's why they had to live and be Hellenistic, or to be like a Roman, or to be like a Syrophoenician, or to be whatever they were from. You understand? The same way we are today. Where you're born today, you born in Baltimore, you're how Baltimore is. You're born in New York, you're just how New York is. You're born in wherever the hell you born at, that's just how you are. That's just how you are. You understand? What we got to realize is that that's not how we were supposed to be.
That's right.
We weren't. That's not how we were bred to be. That's how we were born to be like. You understand? But keep reading.
Sir. The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 1. It came to pass also that 7 brethren.
We got a apocrypha in here somewhere. No sir.
Extra one, Slacky.
All right, Slacky. We got an apocrypha. Extra one. No sir.
Oh, you need one?
I was gonna get a sis one.
Now you should be able just to pull it up on your phone.
You got it on your phone?
Yeah, you could just, if you go to KingJamesBible.org, it's on there.
All right, so where we at? Read where you at again?
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 1. It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh.
So they were forced. They knew that these 7 brothers and the mother were Israelites, and they knew that they had a custom. They knew that they had a law that they upheld, right? They didn't sin against the Lord, so they didn't eat pork, shrimp, crab, or lobster. You understand? They didn't get tattoos. They didn't smoke weed. They didn't commit atrocities against the Lord. They stood for what the Lord wanted them to do. You understand? Keep going.
And were tormented with scourges and whips.
And they were tormented, meaning they was tortured, right? They were tortured because they would not eat pork. Remember this story, man. You got to dig deep into this, because whenever you hear about your brother or some brother out here in the world who just got to celebrate Thanksgiving, or just, what's the next one coming up? What's the next one?
I don't know.
Is it Thanksgiving? When is Thanksgiving? November or something like that? Well, ain't it? Or is it something else before Thanksgiving? I don't even remember no more.
Right.
I forgot my own birthday this year. Of course, you gotta be reminded every year.
Right.
My family at this point, they don't say happy birthday. They just say, "Well, how does it feel to have an old man?" I'm like, the same way as yesterday.
Salaka, sir, if I may, on that point, it's funny when I.
Salaka.
No, go ahead.
Salaka, the sis said Halloween. Forgot about Halloween. Okay,
No sweat.
Halloween is the next feast day for America. But
No sweat.
All right.
Now, I was gonna say, when I was in the world and I kind of cared about my birthday, it seemed like nobody could remember it.
Yeah.
Now that I don't give a damn about it,
man,
like,
brother, if I tell you, if I came out and said, family, I'm not in the ISUPK no more, and my birthday is in 2 weeks.
right,
I want a MacBook. I want a Corvette.
right,
I want this. Brother,
right,
it'll be at my door.
right,
They'll be working to get me whatever I want with an Apple Watch on top. You understand?
Right.
They be like, oh, you out there true. You coming back with us. Like the goddamn Sith Lord or something.
Come.
Back on the dark side or something like that, man.
Good
I
night.
promise you that's how it be. So you not in that coat no more.
right.
Yeah,
No
man, but,
sweat.
Of course, that'll never happen.
Damn right.
Because I remember these brothers right here.
Damn
I
right.
remember what these brothers and what this mother did.
Count
So I
con.
could never go back.
Count con.
Keep going.
Verse 2. But one of them spake first, said thus.
So one of the sons is about to speak. They're getting tormented. They're getting whipped. You understand? Imagine like the scene Roots when Kunta Kinte was getting whipped because they was trying to make his name to be Toby, right? So the first brother speaks and he says this. Keep reading.
What wouldest thou ask or learn of us?
He's saying, why are you doing this? Like, what is the point of y'all whipping us and tormenting us? What are you trying to get from us?
Right.
Meaning, like, what do you want? Like, what the hell is me eating this pork gonna do for you? Like, you gotta imagine, like, how a nigga is thinking. He's thinking, like, if I eat this pork, it ain't gonna get you no money.
Right.
Like, why the hell is this? What is it gonna do for you?
Right.
Nothing. Why are you doing this to us, right? Keep going.
We are ready to die,
Uh-huh.
rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers.
Meaning we are ready to lose our lives rather than to forget about the covenant that our fathers made.
Right.
Rather than forget about the pain that our fathers had, that our ancestors went through.
Right.
Rather than to celebrate the 4th of July, we will die than to ever go back and do that.
Right.
You understand? Keep going.
Concept. Verse 3. Then the king, being in a rage, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot.
Is this Darius?
La.
Oh, they Persians.
Right.
Okay.
So Darius is before this
Right.
concept.
Okay, I got you. All right, so the king being enraged by what the boy said, he called for cauldrons, right? Anybody know what a cauldron is?
A big pot.
A big ass pot. It's a huge pot, right? That's what a cauldron is. So it's like, you ever seen them with the witches with the big, I don't know what that is, but I guess the trolls was in trouble and witches about to get them. I was thinking more like Banjo and Kazooie or something.
Good night.
You ain't know about that.
the game?
Con. Yeah, you get up on your games, man. But so imagine the witch's pot, right? The cauldron. Keep going.
Concept. Verse 4. Which forthwith being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first.
So the king gave the order to bring the cauldron, fill it up with water, and set a fire under it, and heat it up. Start to get it to a boil. But for the one who spake first, bring him here and cut his tongue out. That brother lost his tongue because he didn't want to eat pork. That brother lost his tongue because he would not disobey the law of his father, of his God. But yet we want to eat shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster like it's nothing. And that brother lost his tongue. Keep going.
Come. And to cut off the utmost parts of his body.
And the cut, who knows what that means? Who could tell me what that means? It's going to get bad in here. This is just the beginning. So get prepared. After this class, you are going to look at everybody who decides to go out here and eat pork and eat shrimp and lobster, and they know the truth. You're going to look at them like the filth. You're going to look at them like that.
Right.
You understand? They're not filth. They lost. But they damn sure don't love their people.
Right.
Right? Who knows what it means to cut off the utmost parts of his body?
Salaki, would it be his hands and feet?
His hands, right? His arms,
Right.
utmost parts of his body, his ears.
Oh, Slakia.
It could be his ears. It could be his nose. It could be his chin. It could be whatever the hell they wanted to do. You understand how much of a like I said before, you look at these horror movies and you look at how the white man has just envisioned all manners and demeanors of torture, and how you be watching some horror movies like, dang, like you in your mind is like, who would think of that?
Right.
Who would think to who like you gotta imagine, right? The entrapments that you see on Saul, I'll use Saul for an example. The entrapments that you see on Saul, you got to imagine, like, at some point in time, that was never created. It wasn't here. Like a noose, at some point in time, it wasn't here. It had to be created or invented by somebody and then practiced on and used. And now today we know what a lynch is or a noose. So you got to think about all the entrapments and all the wicked devices that they just think about in their mind and they created. Back then, they did the same thing. They'll think about any evil thing that they can do. And if they wanted to do it, they'll do it. They wanted to cut the baby out your stomach, they'll do it. Like in whose right mind, who thinks about that? That's how you know that this man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Even in the hood, you understand, even though this is what we should not be doing, but when you got beef in the hood, right, and you live that life, when you go to handle your beef, are you thinking about, I'm gonna cut his ears off and chop his nose off and boil him in a cauldron in a pot? You do what you doing and you keep it moving. But this man, he has to torture. He has to torment. He has to get pots and chop off ears and chop tongues out and chop off nose and buck break the men and split them from limb to limb using horses. He has to think of all kinds of wicked ways in his madness to destroy you instead of just going to war, right? Keep going. So they cut off his uppermost body parts. Keep going.
Come on.
Uh-huh.
Salakia.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of his brethren and his mother looking on.
And the rest of his brother watching. Imagine your brothers. Y'all got brothers. You understand? Imagine this is happening to your brother. And you have no fight in you. You have nothing in you. There ain't nothing you can do. I see this brother right here. He like, yeah, let it be my brother right now.
Right.
They ain't gonna get my tongue. They gonna have to shoot me. But imagine you are in a situation. Just imagine. And there's nothing you can do. Just imagine you already in a cage. And you gotta watch. Because it's nothing you can do. You can try with all your strength to bend them bars, but it's too late. Imagine that pain that you'll have. Imagine that agony, that feeling in your stomach when you that feeling when you just something hurts so much, but it's not a physical pain, and you just feel an emptiness there, and it just makes you feel like you're sick, but you're not sick. Imagine that feeling times 10, because you're watching it, and he's screaming. Imagine that, and remember it. Engrave it into your image. You understand? Keep going.
Come.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
Now when he was thus maimed
Mm-hmm.
in all his members,
Mm-hmm.
he commanded him, being yet alive,
Mm-hmm.
to be brought to the fire
Mm-hmm.
and to be fried in the pan.
After he was maimed. You understand? Read that part one more time, because it's important.
Come.
Uh-huh.
Now when he was thus maimed
Mm-hmm.
in all his members,
Uh-huh.
he commanded him, being yet alive.
He commanded him being yet alive. What does that mean?
The brother was not dead.
Meaning what? Why they say it? Like if they would have said he scratched him with a toothpick, would they have said, yet he being alive? I'll give it to you for time's sake. For time's sake, the thing that he did to him so bad, it was an astonishment that this man was even still alive.
Right.
That's why they said, yet he's still alive. Okay. Because he shouldn't have been. He should have died from what they had already did to him. Keep going.
Come on, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed,
Mm-hmm.
they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully.
So as he's frying in the pan, like a piece of meat, just frying in the pan. You understand? You ever been cooking turkey bacon and it pop on you and you like you damn near can't even take that, or you cooking grits and it start bubbling up and you damn near can't even take that. Imagine a pan big enough and it's still hot, just like that, and you forced to just lay in it. Imagine it. Imagine how you would feel. Imagine how you would feel looking at your brother and he's just laying in it, being fried to death. Imagine that pain. Imagine how sick to your stomach you gotta feel. And after the smoke dispersed, the rest of his brothers said they gonna still die like men.
Right.
The rest of his brothers said, we following right after you into that pan.
What?
Keep going.
Concept.
They want Christian.
Saying thus, verse 6, the Lord God looketh upon us, and in truth hath comfort in us.
And the Lord God look upon us and in truth have comfort in us. What is the truth? What is the truth? They are about to die, and they still speaking of the truth. What is the truth? Who could tell me what the truth is? It goes against everything that this brother said in the beginning of this class. Everything. What's the truth? What did they know?
So like I said, they knew that the Lord was with them.
They knew that the white man was the devil.
That's right.
And that the Lord was with them.
Right.
And that they was with the Lord because they followed after what the Lord told them.
Right.
And that's what it is to be in the truth.
That's right.
To know who your enemy is and to know who your friend is. To know who your father is and who your brothers are.
Right.
And who your sisters are. And who the people you should love is. And what high holy days you should celebrate.
Right.
And where you should be on Saturday mornings.
Right.
And what food jobs you should be at.
Right.
And what clothes you should wear. And what kind of woman you should look at.
Right.
And what kind of woman you should marry.
Right.
That's what the truth is, and that's what they knew. How do you know? Because they didn't eat that pork.
Right.
They knew that they weren't supposed to do it, and they did not. You understand? Keep reading.
Okay. As Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declared, saying, and he shall be comforted in his servants. Verse 7. So when the first was dead after this number.
So he died. Finally, he died. After frying in a frying pan, he's gone. Keep going.
They brought the second to make a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair.
When they did what?
And when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair.
They pulled off the skin of his head with the hair. Who knows what that means? Brother?
Scalping.
They scalped him. They scalped him. They took a blade or like a scalpel and they cut and they pulled his hair off with the skin. They scalped him. Keep going.
They asked him, wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body?
So after he's already scalped, they asked him, are you going to eat this pork? You going to eat this bacon? You going to eat this pork chop, this pig feet, chitterling, whatever the hell else they make? I remember we went to a Piggly Wiggly and I was just astonished at how many things they made with the body. I'm like, pigtail? Like, what the hell? Is that like a noodle? You know, like, what the hell do you do with that? The hell you do with a pigtail?
Good night.
But they asked him after scalping him, or is he going to eat? You understand? He's already scalped. He already in a agonizing pain. Keep going.
God. Salakia. Before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body.
Before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body, meaning everything.
Right.
I hope I don't got to explain that. Everything. Your manhood, all of that. You understand? Before they do things to everything on your body. Keep going.
But he answered in his own language.
And his what?
In his own language.
No, he's so happy to be an English major. He think he better than everybody else.
In his own language.
No, he's so happy to just know about the 4th of July and American history and be an American.
In his own language.
In his own language. Separated from the man that's tormenting him and his people.
Right.
In his own language. He wasn't ashamed to go and say shalom.
Right.
He wasn't ashamed to say, Yahawah Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatah.
Right.
Barakatah Yahawah Yahweh Shah. He wasn't ashamed of it in his own language, regardless of the persecution he's about to get. We here in the world, we scared to say shalom. We scared to wear the shield of David at work. We scared to tell our family members that I could give a damn about your Christianity.
That's
I'm a
right.
Hebrew Israelite,
Damn
like my
right.
ancestors before me. We sitting up here scared to death because we don't know what it is to love our people yet.
Right.
We don't know what it is to remember our ancestors yet. This brother knew what it meant. He knew what it was. And in his own language, keep going.
But he answered in his own language and said, no.
La'ah. He ain't eating it. Whether you understand what the hell I'm saying or not, you better use context, nigga.
Right.
He ain't eating it.
Right.
La'ah, devil.
Damn right.
With all the strength he had left. La'ah. Remember, they was illegal to be a Jew. It was illegal to be an Israelite.
Right.
So they won't just around just speaking their language, but they knew it. They remembered it. And he could have spoke Greek.
Right.
He could have. But he said la'ah because it meant something.
Right.
It means something when you speak your language. That's why when we pray in the Hebrew. Because like the scriptures say, the angels hear that, man. And it's stronger.
Right.
It's stronger when you're fighting back for your nationality. When you're fighting for your culture, it's stronger. And he knew that. Because like his brother said before, they knew the truth. Keep going.
Come on, sir. Salakia. Wherefore, he also received the next torment in order, as the former did. And when he was at the last gasp, he said, thou like a fury takest us out of this present life. But the King of the world shall raise us up, who have died for his laws, unto everlasting life.
Meaning the Lord is going to redeem us for what we're doing now. The Lord is going to have mercy on us for what we're doing now and raise us up again. You understand? Keep going.
Verse 10, after him was the third made a mocking stock. And when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hands manfully.
Meaning he put his tongue out. He said, chop my tongue off. And he held his hands manfully, meaning cut my upper part of my limbs. Do it. Right after his first and second brother, he said, do it. Keep going.
Come. And said courageously, these I had from heaven, and for his laws I despised them.
Meaning what? Meaning what? Who could break that down? That's deep. That brother right there is a soldier, man.
Right.
He is a soldier for the Lord. Read that part one more time.
Come. And said courageously, these I had from heaven.
These I had from heaven. Meaning what? He's holding out his tongue and his arms, saying, cut them off, because the Lord gave me these.
Right.
And it's just the body I'm in.
Right.
The Lord gave me these hands and my tongue. So take it. Keep going.
And for his laws.
And for his law against adultery, for his feast days,
right.
For the laws of the Lord. Keep going.
I despise them.
I could give a damn about these goddamn hands.
Damn right.
If it means me going against the law of my father. That brother was a soldier, man.
That's right.
Keep going.
Come. And from him I hope to receive them again.
Meaning what? He gonna get new ones.
Right.
He gonna get new hands. And he gonna get a new tongue. And he gonna come back on this earth and he gonna blaze them devils for the crimes that they committed against his people.
That's right.
Man. He knew that because he knew what? What did he know? He knew that reincarnation was real.
That's right.
Because he knew, someone blow my mind. Someone over here blow my mind. He knew that reincarnation was real because he knew what? Say it louder. Who said it? I heard someone say it. They mumbled it. What did they know? Go ahead. What did he say?
The truth.
They knew the truth. They knew that they were coming back. You understand? They knew the truth. And that's why he said, I gained these from heaven, but for his law I despise them.
Right.
Meaning take them. My body is nothing but a automobile. It's nothing but a vehicle that the Lord gave me to use.
Right.
I've done what I've done here on the earth. And the Lord gonna give me a new one. You understand? Keep going.
Come on. Salakia. Insomuch that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage.
They looked at you the way your mother would look at you if you grew up and been a man towards her.
Right.
They looked at you the way your father grew up, would look at you if you grew up and stood with the Lord and been a woman towards him. They looked at him the way your friends would look at you if you grew up and said that I'm not smoking that weed with you. I'm standing with the Lord, regardless of how many holes and the lifestyle is going to give me, regardless of whatever blessing from the world that I'm going to get by dealing wickedly in the earth is going to give me. I'm going to stand with the Lord. They looked at him like that those brothers would look at you. They would look at you like you are different than them.
Right.
You're stronger than they are. And that's how they looked at him. Keep going.
Come on. For that he nothing regarded the pains. Verse 13. Now when this man was dead also, they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, it is good being put to death by men.
He said it's good. It's good to be put to death by men. Not by the Lord, but by men, by you evil devils. It's good to be put to death by you. Keep going.
To look for hope from God to be raised up again by him.
To look for hope from the Lord to be raised up again through reincarnation by him. You understand? Keep going.
As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life.
As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. Meaning what? When you come back, you going to live in hell for the crimes that you've committed.
Right.
When you come back, you ain't going to have life. You going to have what I got right now. You understand? And what he got right now with his arms and his tongue out, he got death coming.
Right.
So he's saying when I come back, I'm praying that I have life.
Right.
I'm going to live when I come back. When you come back, you going to have this. And your arms and your tongues will be sticking out. And you'll be begging for mercy from the Lord because of what you choose to do right now.
Right.
You understand? Keep going.
Afterward, they brought the fifth also and mangled him. Then looked he unto the king and said, thou hast power over men. Thou art corruptible. Thou doest what thou wilt. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of God. Verse 17.
And what did he say? What was the last part?
Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of God.
Don't think that just because our Lord ain't working with us right now. Don't think that just because you allowed to do this now that the Lord has forsaken our nation. Don't think that that's the case. Don't think because you could kill George Floyd right now. Don't think because you could torment Emmett Till right now and you can put us in the ghettos right now. And we living in drugs right now, in the streets right now and in poverty right now. Don't think that because of our condition now that our Lord has forsaken us. Keep going.
Come. Verse 17. But abide a while and behold his great power, how he will torment thee.
He said, but stick around. Stick around. What we say here in the UPK? Man, you living in your heaven right now,
right.
Mr. White Man. Enjoy it. Stick around for a long time.
Right.
Use all the medicines and everything, man. You know, you're a healthy white man. Stay healthy. Stay healthy. Eat all the vegetables and the organic whole foods and eat all the omega-3 oils and fish oils and all of that. Stay healthy. Stick around for a while. You understand? And see how the Lord torments your people for the crimes that you've committed. See how the Lord repays you back for Emmett Till, for Sandra Bland, for Fidel Castile, for Eric Gardner, for Ahmaud Arbery, for every brother out here in the street living in the ghetto. Remember, just stick around for a while and see how the Lord repays you. Keep
Right.
going.
And thy seed.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 18. After him also they brought the sixth, who being ready to die said, Be not deceived without cause. For we suffer these things for ourselves.
We do what?
Suffer these things for ourselves.
That's heavy. Who can break that down? Con, we about to get out of here real quick. But this is very important. Who can break that down? We suffer these things. What does it mean to suffer something? Remember what the brother over here said earlier. Well, he didn't say it, but he implied it. He implied that if it was him in the situation, he'd fighting back. He ain't about to let nobody do this. This is why they let it do it. What does it mean to suffer?
To allow.
To allow it. They allowed this to happen. They could have fought back. But they allowed it to happen, right? Read that part one more time.
Come on. Be not deceived without cause.
Don't be fooled. Keep going.
For we suffer these things for ourselves.
We allowing this for our own self. Keep going.
Having sinned against our God. Therefore marvelous things are done unto us. Verse 19.
Keep going.
But think not thou that takest in hand to strive against God, that thou shalt escape unpunished.
That you gonna get away. They are doing this because of the crimes that they've committed. You understand? And now they're trying to do what? Redeem themselves.
Right.
They're trying to repent to the Lord. And so they're allowing this to happen in hopes that they'll come back. But they're also saying, don't think that you're going to get away with this, because they know the truth and that our God is going to come back and punish them. Now, how does that relevant to you today? They suffered what? Persecution.
Right.
They suffered being hated. They suffered their family talking down upon them.
Right.
They suffered being called a cult. They suffered not celebrating birthdays.
Right.
They suffered doing things that wasn't comfortable. They suffered these things in hopes that their God is going to redeem them. You understand?
Yeah, right.
That's what it means to be in the truth. They suffered dying, and you can't suffer your family hating you. You can't suffer your family not talking to you for a while, and these brothers lost their life. You can't suffer your friends telling you you can't come around because somebody in the school got COVID-19. You can't suffer your family telling you that you can't come around no more because somebody in the school got COVID-19, so you can't come around.
Right.
You can't suffer that. You care so much about that. That's what you care about? Number one, that's what they care about. And these brothers is losing their lives. They lost their tongues and their limbs and got boiled in cauldrons and fried in frying pans.
Right.
And they care so much about what their family thinks. That's what, good night. They suffered persecution. They suffered death. And the Lord is not asking you to suffer death. The Lord is asking you to suffer not celebrating your birthday. The Lord is asking you to suffer not celebrating Halloween or not celebrating Christmas.
Right.
Or not celebrating Thanksgiving. The Lord is asking for you to suffer just to love your people, even though they're broken, even though they're destroyed. Suffer it. You understand? That's what the Lord is asking. That's all he's asking. And if you loved your people, you'll suffer it. And you give a damn about what your family got to say at all.
That's right.
You give a damn about what your friends got to say. You'll give a damn about the coworkers on your job got to say about any goddamn thing, because you'll remember these brothers. You'll remember what they go through. And you'll ask yourself, is this where I want to be? Is this what I believe in? Well, let me stop being a bitch.
Right.
Let me stop being a homosexual scared out here in the world because of what I believe in. Because these brothers want no goddamn pussies, man.
Right.
Salakia for my language. These brothers want no goddamn weak, man. They were strong in what they believed in. And the mother. You understand? Keep going.
Come.
Mm-hmm. No sweat.
Verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
But the mother was marvelous above all.
Uh-huh. This a woman. Y'all think, oh, that's just the men. The men gotta, they gonna die. They gonna take that one. But we women. Let's see what the mother said. Keep going.
And worthy of honorable memory.
Mm-hmm.
For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day,
Mm-hmm.
she bare it with a good courage.
She bare it with a good courage. She had the same courage her sons had. She watched her sons get tormented and tortured in one day. Back to back to back to back. All the pain she went through in childbirth. All the pain she went through in raising them 7 sons.
Right.
Just to have it all in to her watching them get tormented, man. Just to her to see her sons get torn apart, baked and fried and boiled to death, tongue split out, cut out, scalps shaven, taken off their goddamn head, limbs cut off. She had to watch that and suffer that. But she had good faith. Keep going.
Come.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the hope that she had in the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Yea, she exhorted every one of them
Mm-hmm.
in her own language.
And her what?
Her own language.
So that woman has some strength too. That woman has some strength too. In the face of death. In the face of death. She went in there in her own language. In the face of death. None of us have been in this situation. None of us. Some of us may have been in some situations, but we've never seen our brothers get our tongues taken out and their limbs cut off and a man boiled to death in a cauldron. We've never been in this. And she spoke in her own language in the face of death, man. A terrible death. And we scared to not celebrate 4th of July.
Right.
We scared to go to class. We scared to put on all black. We scared to rock the fringes in the grocery store.
Right.
Scared to rock the shield at the slave. We scared. You had to register. They say thank you. You be like the water. Oh, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
You scared. When you should be like the water. You should be at the register. The water. Salakia.
Right.
Khan la'a. What does that mean? That means my bad, or that means yes or no. And learn it, because I'm going to keep saying it every time I come here. The same way they push it on you. They push every time you get in an argument on Facebook. Hey, you spelled there wrong. You use T-H-E-I-R, and you're supposed to use T-H-E-R-E. Well, Salakia. Salakia. Learn how to spell that.
Right.
Learn what that means. She used her own language. Keep going.
Come.
Mm-hmm.
Filled with courageous spirits
Mm-hmm.
and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach.
Uh-huh.
She said unto them, I cannot tell how ye came into my womb,
Uh-huh.
for I neither gave you breath nor life,
Uh-huh.
neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you,
Mm-hmm.
but doubtless the creator of the world,
Uh-huh.
who formed the generation of man.
Uh-huh. Meaning she giving blessings to the Lord. You understand? She giving credit to the Most High. Keep going.
And found out the beginning of all things,
Mm-hmm.
will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again.
Meaning she's telling them, she's exhorting her sons, right? Telling them that they are going to come back to the Lord.
Right.
They going to come back again and live amongst this earth again. You understand? Where we at?
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 23.
Uh-huh. All right, keep going.
As ye now regard not your own selves
Uh-huh.
for his law's sake.
As you not regard your own self for his law's sake. Talking to her sons. Is there ending to this that I want?
You mean like Antiochus getting upset?
I think so. I think that's what I wanted.
That starts
For
next.
time's sake, this is a long chapter. Hold on one second. Go to verse drop down verse 37.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 37. But I, as my brethren, offer up my body and life for the laws of our fathers,
I mean, and they give up everything for these law, statutes, commandments, for this truth. Keep going.
beseeching God that he would speedily be merciful unto our nation,
Unto all the nation of Israel. Keep going.
and that thou by torments and plagues mayest confess
By torments and plagues may if they confess. Confess what? Keep going.
that he alone is
That
God,
he alone is God. Keep going. The God of Israel. Keep going.
and that in me and my brethren the wrath of the Almighty, which is justly brought upon our nation, may cease.
Keep going. Keep going.
Then the king, being in a rage, handed him worse than all the rest.
Because he said the most heaviest things. If you go back and read it, he was speaking for a minute. He was telling the most heaviest things that he can say before he died. Keep going.
It took it grievously that he was mocked. So this man died undefiled,
So he died undefiled. You understand? He died without sin. Keep going.
and put his whole trust in the Lord.
Put everything he had in the Most High into the truth. Keep going.
Last of all, after the sons, the mother died.
Last of all, after the sons, the mother was dead too. Keep going.
Let this be enough now to have spoken concerning the idolatrous feasts and the extreme tortures.
This should be enough. This should be enough. Should be. To stop Christmas. To stop Halloween.
Right.
To stop Thanksgiving. To stop Caesar Borgia. To stop Allah. To stop weed. To stop blacks. To stop whoring. To stop prostitution. To stop drug dealing. To stop drug abuse. To stop abortion. To stop loving the man who's killing us.
Right.
And to love each other.
That's right.
This should be enough. For their name's sake, it should be enough. Because they not the only 7. Them, like Emmett Till, were the ones whose records was written down. That's it. That's it. But there were many others.
Right.
We got to stop learning from our oppressor.
Right.
And we got to start to learn to love each other.
Damn
Otherwise, we're going to keep dying in the streets
That's
of
right.
America.
That's right.
Otherwise, our condition won't change.
Right.
We'll keep indulging in all his ideologies and his religions and his ways of life, and we'll never change. And these brothers, they watching. And these brothers right here, and they realize the pain that they go through, and they seeing you. They seeing what you do. They seeing everything you do in your life. And you understand? And that's hurtful, man. That's hurtful to your people. To know the truth, to know it. But to be so weak or to be so scared of persecution of your family and of your friends and of your coworkers and of white people and of Africans and the people that around you. So much that you dismember the truth away from you for a while. You understand? And with that, I'm going to pass the class over to Preaching Officer Thabawan.
I just got to read the announcements real quick. Come on, I'll come right back. Slack you.